Okay, what hazy Star Wars dream, Clone Wars acid trip did I just see? Well, we're going to find out today. Let's get into this. Welcome back. Paul's Collectibles, Ahsoka Breakdown. I got Cat. Either way, and I got Pete. Yeah. Hey. Thanks for joining us for what is going to be, I think, a very interesting talk. I'm not going to run my mouth a lot because, man, we got a lot to go over. But as always, before we get started, Cat, how are you doing, ma'am? It's good to see you.
I'm hanging in there. I'm doing okay. I'm super excited for this episode. Emotional damage is all I can say.
I even named one of the slides emotional damage because when I saw it, I was like, emotional damage. Exactly. Pete, how are you doing, sir? It's always good to see you as well, my friend.
Literally just blew in from the beach, from Myrtle Beach. I looked for Ahsoka in the water there. She was not there.
So we had an episode of Scuba Pete searches for scuba snips.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Well, it's good to see you guys once again. I appreciate having you both. I know this week, or especially the past couple of days, for all three of us have just been hectic. So I'm glad we were able to get together and do this. So really quick, we'll run over to the comments and see who's crazy enough to join us. Oh, yeah, Rolando. You got Rolando. Got Mr. Rez is here, Pete.
Hey, Rez.
There we go. YouTube legend G-Force in the house. Yeah. Hey, Hoppy, I think you're at 100% attendance right now.
Gold star for Hoppy.
Exactly. Hey, we know this girl. Vader's girl. Too bad there was nothing for you to see in this episode, right, Kat?
I know. It was pretty boring for me. Pretty upset. It's just Hera.
Hera. There's Michael Reed.
Hey, Michael.
Hi, Michael.
Good to see you. Hey, Dino. Geek Strong's in the house. What's up, man? Yeah.
Dino will not like what I have to say about Hera today, so he may want to walk away.
I just won't put his comments
green.
Yeah.
It really is.
Disclaimer, Dino.
Blue X. Yo, what's up? This episode was absolutely beautiful for sure. Yeah. Hey, there's a name I don't think I've seen before. SG12GK. Good to see you.
SG?
Yeah.
Hi.
I can't do an Irish accent, so I'll just say hi, John McGuire. So.
Hi, John. Great to see you, pal.
John.
Yeah, exactly. And then, of course, one half of the Paul's Wrong About Everything show is here. Rick, it's good to see you, brother. All right. I think that's pretty much everybody right off the bat.
Kenneth Bird.
Oh, yep. There's Kenneth. Good to see you.
Hi,
I just saw that. Yeah. Kenneth. Oh, it's good to see you.
Hello.
All right. Kat, as I mentioned, what do we got? About 10 minutes of stuff to talk about this episode, and then, we'll just have to wing it from there. But as always, we start off with your favorite girl. And so you just mentioned that maybe Geek Strong's going to have a little something to say. Why don't you lead us off, ma'am?
Yeah. Why start with her? I don't I'm just kidding. So I kind of figured out more about why I don't like her.
Oh, okay, good. That's good.
So let's talk about that first. If you look at, again, animation and her action figures, she's got short legs and a long torso. It should be the opposite. She should be taller with a short torso. So she's just all around wrong for me. The only thing that's working is her butt. I get it.
Yeah, we do get some quality Hera buns.
Oh yeah,
she does.
Yeah.
She does do a little better getting on level with her kid later on and that kind of stuff. But she's not the Hera I loved in Rebels. She's still kind of lacking. But she came out. I don't know whether she should have brought her kid or not. But I mean, yeah. Let's go to a strange planet where we know known enemies are and bring my child. Sure, let's go.
Absolutely. Pete, before we go over to you, two more. There's JT. It's always good to see you, man.
Hi, JT.
Dave over at VTR.
Hey, and Camilla.
Hi, G-Force.
And Camilla, right? And then really quick, here's a name. Colette Emma.
Colette.
I really struggled through the first 4 episodes, but this one gave me everything. Nice. Okay, good.
Cool.
Awesome.
Pete, so we start off with Hera. Right off the bat here. Now, here's the thing I got. Before we got this shot, we got a bunch of like an empty forest in the ocean and stuff. And I thought they did a very good job of intimating the emptiness, you've missed everything. And then when we get here, what were you thinking when you saw this?
Yeah, that long shot of the cliff with the basaltic columns coming up, I really was digging that. Yeah, the big column rock work.
Basaltic. Wow.
Basaltic, which would be volcanic.
You know, this is Paul's Collectibles, bro. We're not that highbrow here. No, I'm just kidding.
It's like some fancy pumice.
Not gonna touch it. Keep talking, Pete.
Wow.
Yeah, it's bring your kid to work day, and for just landing into that situation, that particular area of the monolith, I'm like, it's a little stiff with like checking out to see if this is okay. It was like, if I just stand here with my gun, something might happen or not. I'm like, I felt like, could you sell it a little more? It just seemed very wooden, that particular scene. And then thank God, Kiddo and Chopper show up because, they make everything better.
It might have been better to have Chopper scanning first, right? And then her kind of behind him, like, hey, you see anything? Nothing cool, let's go out.
Which is very,
I mean, he could see stuff more than she could, just saying.
So what I'm getting from
more
this is
rebellish. Yeah.
Hera did not go to the SWAT school of clearing a danger area. She just okay.
I'm gonna barely look around.
Right.
I'm gonna make myself the biggest target around while I hold a pistol
in my orange pants. Got it.
In my
yes.
Yeah. Hopefully my butt dazzles them. Pow, and they won't see. I got you. Yeah. Right. What's up, Evan? Welcome to the show. Yeah. I'm over here butt dazzling people. Pete, let's stick with you for a second. Wooden dialogue, a little stiff, a little like, I'm not sure I'm buying this scene. And then, as I mentioned earlier, of all things, the robot has more emotion than a lot of the characters. What are you getting out of this one when you see it, sir?
Yeah, he was totally doing a Shakespeare, Hamlet. Alas, poor Yorick. I knew him or her well. I mean, that whole, like, I told them not to split up. They never listen. That kind of was like, you got me. Yeah, dude, that was great. I love him.
Absolutely. Him and a couple of other characters are kind of making the show. Kat, you mentioned eye acting a couple of times, and I just get the biggest kick out of the fact that this droid, as you put it, acts better with his eyes than some of these characters. What did you get out of this, ma'am?
100%. He does it again. And it's not just his eye acting, but you can hear it because he's the way he's kind of solemn looking at his eyes. And then just, you can hear the sadness when he delivers that line. I told them they never, ever listen. And he says it again. You hear that emotion. And I think it's funny that a droid can act out, beat a person in acting. Like, that's pretty remarkable. So hats off to him. But
what's the name of the voice actor?
It's
Neil Tennant. They need to get this guy. David Tennant. Okay. Yeah. Neil Tennant is from Pet Shop Boys, Pete. That's a difference. Yeah. Whew, aging myself there.
What have I done to deserve this?
Exactly. What have I? I sent you away. Too soon again, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. Squirrel. Yeah. The 80s music is my squirrel. But they need to give this guy some more voiceover roles, if you ask me. He's doing a good job. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah. Jonathan. It's always good to have you, man. Yep. Jonathan always has plenty to say. Kat, let's stick with you because I planned out the order so that you would go first on this one. I'm going to be quiet, and I want you to just go.
Okay.
This scene sponsored by Kleenex.
I mean, that's not very far off of what happened. Right? Like, I pretty much cried through this entire thing. And toward the end, I stopped because it was mostly Hera, so I don't need to cry for her. But so many things, just what he was saying and everything that developed with it, it killed me. Again, we talked about it a little bit, emotional damage for this. Like, this whole thing. And can I just say how amazing World Between the Worlds just looks in this?
Yeah.
It looks a little different because it doesn't have the portals kind of around like we have in the animation, but this is so incredible. I loved every second of them meeting. And Unlike like last week, we said he kind of looks a little off and stuff like that. This time when he's there, I don't think that at all. I really enjoyed how he looked. I thought it was great for this little bit of action before they get into he's going to immerse her in what we like to call is physical Star Wars therapy.
Oh,
so
yeah,
it's a very heavy therapy session.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, so I'm glad Rick says that. Pete, I want to go over to you, but Kat, maybe it's a little early if you want to answer this question later. Is she force hallucinating all of this while she's underwater, or is she really in the world between worlds and all of this is really going on?
No, I believe she's really there. I don't think that's the fact that if she was just hallucinating, then the scene with Jason and telling his mom, hey, listen, it's within the waves. Do you hear that? It's lightsabers. That would mean nothing then. Then that would not make sense if she was hallucinating. It would only be with her. So, no, I 100% believe they're there.
All right. Pete, over to you, sir. We dive right back in. What are you thinking as you get this? And what do you think of my question to Kat?
I thought the CGI, at least on these, was much better than last week's. With, last week we saw his face so shaded and dark. This sold me on a much higher level. It was very believable. I like, again, he's calling her Snips, and of course we're touching on that sore subject of I'm here to complete your training, and I was like, oh damn. Yeah,
you mentioned that a couple of
I was
episodes.
like, poor Kat's gonna be just bawling her eyes out.
I was having a hard time. Like I couldn't just stop crying because then I would just go, oh no! Like I would just yell at the TV and cry the whole time.
So, Pete, is she really there, or is it all in her head?
No, I agree. I think she's truly there. Otherwise, Jason wouldn't have heard through his force sensitivity the lightsaber battle. I think that's just where they are is kind of one like a big, obviously, waypoint, of mystical energy, and there's a lot going on right in front of that Stonehenge.
Right, because they did say it was very spiritual place or whatever, however they refer to it. So I mean, to me, that's saying that's a huge connection to the Force. So if something was going to happen, it would happen within that space. So
Yep.
So just so you guys know, my internet has decided to get all kinds of weird, so I hope you can hear me. I probably look silly right now. It'll come back up in a second, hopefully. So I'm gonna weigh in really quick because I rarely do that. I'm going to disagree with you two, and I'm gonna agree with a couple of the other people, Jonathan specifically. I think she's underwater and she's having force hallucinations that she can also that she's projecting through the force, which is why Jason is hearing that. But she's not really there. It's all in her head, but that doesn't mean that it's not actually going on because it's all happening inside the force, which is why Anakin comes back. But that's just what I think. I don't think we'll ever know the answer, frankly. So, Kat, I'm going to start with you. I'm going to start with you again, Kat.
Cool.
I'm not going to fight you, and then immediately proceeds to fight. What's going on?
So many I absolutely love the shot, but when she says, I'm not going to fight you, and he goes, I've heard that before, that instantly took me back to Return of the Jedi with Luke saying that, I'm not going to fight you. And then what happens? They're going to fight. It's going to happen. And can I just say, he has not lost his mojo, because one of his little routines when he gets close to, bashing her through, it brought me right back to Revenge of the Sith. And that man, like, he is on point with his saber fighting. He's not lost a step, even though it's been 20 years, 15 years, whatever, for him. Like, this is so amazing with it. And as soon as he said, yeah, I've heard that before, and he goes after her, I mean, what more do you want? I want more instantly.
Yeah.
Just yes. Right. And then I kept saying, kick her ass, Anakin, teach her. Like, I was rooting for him, like she's gonna die or something like that. But I was like, get her. Like, I was very excited for this.
Kick her ass, Seabass.
I was. Yes, exactly. Yep.
Nice.
Yeah.
Let's see what JT has to say. I have to admit it was difficult to enjoy Hayden as Anakin in the two prequels, but now he's perfect. Maybe thanks to Clone Wars cartoons that help flesh out the character.
I think you've got it. You nailed it, JT. Yeah, the Clone Wars cartoons just made you.
All right, JT, they're on your side. I'm going to say no because I was still a fan of him for the first two episodes. So
Right. And I don't know if he means the actual prequel movies or the episodes prior to this. Either way, I think I know what he's talking about. Yeah.
Probably the first two, because a lot of people complained about Hayden, and that's why he got so much hate. And he wouldn't come to conventions, and then he finally started to, because he got so much hate. He didn't want to get booed out and stuff like that. He was afraid of that because of all the hate he got. So,
you know what? I'm an OT old guy, but I didn't mind the prequels at all. I'm not going to lie. They were fun. They were fun for what they were and stuff like that. And I think people need to lighten up a little bit. But anyway.
I mean, we got to see how Darth Vader became Darth Vader. How is that not awesome?
Mm-hmm.
So,
and it made perfect sense. Darth Vader's not going to be this horrible, terrible bad guy. He's just a spoiled kid who made some poor decisions, which actually makes more sense if you ask me. So fair enough. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he meant the movies, the prequel movies. Okay.
Yeah.
Pete, I'm not going to fight you. Then we start fighting. What are you thinking of the lightsaber battle? What's going through your head, man?
That was very intense. I like the choreography of that. It didn't feel, choreographed 1, 2, 3 like we've talked about in some of the other ones. And then I like him slashing the walkway to send us into the fever dream, whatever. Yeah, that was a really cool transition.
Agree. And to piggyback on what Kat said, Hayden still has that snarky sarcasm that he portrayed in Anakin in this scene. And he's like, oh, you think so? Watch this. Pow! And I was like, that was pretty cool. So, yeah. Pete, I always do this with you because you're a lot closer to my age. But Kat, I do know that you know what this is, and you did point it out. But I'm gonna start with you, Pete. Check it out. It's Han Solo looking for Luke. You can do the sound effects. Kat, you remember this from Empire Strikes Back? You said that, right? Yeah.
Of course, yeah, absolutely. Empire is my favorite movie, so.
I'm glad you said that. Because did you get Empire Strikes Back overall vibes of the heroes are down, but there's hope type of thing going on with this one, Kat?
Absolutely. How
about you, Pete?
Definitely. I like that. Again, I said it before, that this is not going well. This is not just, all right, we're on a cool adventure. It's like, no, poop's hitting the fan, and people are getting hurt. They're disappearing. What happened?
Yeah. I'm actually feeling an emotion watching this.
The other thing I liked in that scene, and you got it on the slide, is that Chopper's got his aerial up doing the, just like in the cartoon,
Oh. This and Hu Yang just cracks me up everything he says. It's like, I don't know where they are. Pete, this is another one of those filler slides that I just threw in because I wanted to talk about it. And we talked about this before we got on. There's what Carson Teva is saying to her, and there's what we can translate he's saying to her. What are you getting out of the conversation here? Because you know what I thought.
Yes, definitely. Like, I really think we should not dig ourselves a deeper hole here.
Right.
But I'm saying that as respectful as I can, especially since we're really not on a sanctioned mission anyway, and this whole command structure. But all right, you the general, back in the air, boys.
Right. Kat, when you saw Carson Teva trying to politely say what it was really on his mind, what were you thinking about this scene, man?
Get your crap together, Hera. Figure out what are we going to do. Because I felt like he's getting the pressure. He's the one getting the transmissions. He's the one kind of getting the brunt of it. And she's all like, who's this Dan? My friend, my kids. Blah, blah. She doesn't know what she's doing. But he's getting kind of the brunt of it. So he's like, look, I'm getting yelled out here. You're the general. I followed you because I know it's right. But still, what are we going to do, lady? So I felt like he said, get her crap together.
So in addition to this is the bitch please face. He's like, oh, bitch please. That's what that face is right there.
Yeah.
But if you'll remember, he says Senator Organa. I'm assuming he means Leia. Says
because he said she.
Yes. She says we have to. That's right. We have to come back. I got the feeling that this guy is like a kid stuck between his sisters fighting, and he's like, I just want it to all stop. So,
and you know what? I honestly didn't catch that at first. When he said Senator Organa, and I immediately just thought of he was talking about Mon Mothma for a second. And so I was like, oh, finally, she actually did, kind of run the back, because I was really disappointed with how she was acting last time, how she didn't say, yeah, go ahead and do it. But like, she was more of like, I have to keep my position. And then I was like, wait a minute. No, he didn't say. He's talking about Leia. Oh my gosh. And then it dawned on me. So I was a little slow in catching that.
It's okay. I've worked in government for a really long time, and that face he's giving her is like, how the hell did you get put in charge? Like, oh, this is crazy. You know what I mean? Because it happens.
I've been passed over how many times for promotion, and you're a general?
Yes, like Captain Teva, my ass. I should be in charge
because
of
of
this.
her butt.
Oh my goodness!
I also like in that same sequence, Huang takes Jason, off to show him the Jedi ship,
right?
And he's like, "Can you?"
No,
teach
that's
me?
later.
Is that later?
That's later. That's after Ahsoka wakes up. So
Yeah.
for Hera and Ahsoka can wake up or talk about where Sabine's at.
Oh, you're right. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did I say I woke up at 4:30 this morning? I did.
Yeah. How did I introduce
It's
this
okay.
whole thing? This whole thing was a fever dream anyway.
Yeah, it doesn't count. It doesn't count. It's fine.
Oh man. Hera, you mentioned, or Hera, wow, I'm in big trouble. Kat, I just called you
my
Hera.
favorite person.
I'm so good at that. That's why I was single until I was 43 and finally got married late in life, because I'm so good at being smart with girls. But anyway, if my wife's watching, she's cracking up right now. By the way, Hera does have a magnificent. Anyway,
saying that's how she got promoted.
Exactly. There's
at least
Michael.
in live
Hey,
action.
Michael.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, good to see you, Michael. So, Kat, let's get back on track here before I get in trouble. You mentioned CPS earlier. Maybe it's because the kid had a purpose. What's going through your head as we're doing that right now?
So, I mean, we haven't seen anything really for him saying, like, oh, if he does have force powers, like you would assume, since who his dad is, that he would. So I at first thought, oh, he, when he kind of directed her to the water and everything like that, like you can hear, I was like, oh, he's using the force. And then I was like, holy crap, she can hear it too. So that's not a force thing. You can literally just hear it if you concentrate enough. And then, but I did appreciate that Ewing did tell when he was talking to Carson, right? His name is Carson. Mm-hmm. He did
Carson
verify that, he does feel things and who his dad is, even though I have a gripe about who he said his dad was. Because he says it's Kanan Jarrus, but at the end of Rebels, he came back as Caleb Doom, as his original self. So I don't know why they're referring to him as his old name. So that bugs me a little bit, but just a side note. So I don't know why he says that. That just bugs me. But I do like the fact that, he was confirming that, no, this kid does have force powers and stuff like that. So I'm excited for that. So I like his acting better than his mom's.
Yeah.
I like his relationship with Chopper throughout it and stuff like that. So, I mean, you can definitely tell they're like best buds. But I like this kid a lot.
Well, let me ask you a question, Kat, that's related to what you just said. Do you think Hera was actually hearing it, or were we just hearing the lightsaber battles in audio effects because Jason was, and she was just smiling because she was trying to humor him, or do you think she really could hear those lightsabers?
So I will give her credit. This is one of the, maybe the second or third time with her eye acting that she got it, because when she did the typical mom of I'm listening, honey, mommy's busy. She's trying to work, we've all done that. If you got kids, okay, I'm listening. Yes, mommy's watching it, that type of thing. But when she actually did it and she started hearing stuff, to me, her eyes kind of lit up, they perked up a little bit, holy crap. And then she tells Carson, hey, we're going again. Let's go. And he's like, you're insane. So to me, she actually heard it.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Pete, let that roll around in your head for a second here. A couple of things I want to talk about here. Jonathan is talking about the New Republic, which we'll get to. Everybody's piling on now. Kat, just JT says you're not green. You're definitely not Hera. Connor's on my team, though. Apparently, it's okay because Kat called me Brian for a whole year there, Kat.
I didn't listen. Okay. It wasn't for a whole year. Okay. Action Pop Dad, they're all at a convention, and he's like, hey, everybody. And I knew who he was. I just happened to say the wrong name, and now I just call him Brian. Because why not? Why not now? He won't let it go. Nobody else lets it go. So that's not Connor. His name is just Brian.
Okay, perfect.
All white guys look the same. How about that? Right?
All right, yeah. Especially when they come from that one small island or whatever over there, right? Exactly.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Yeah.
Pete, G-Force brings up a good thing here too. But what were you getting from this scene? He's obviously using the Force, and apparently this is a very rare Force power. And what's going on with Hera, and what did you think of all this?
I thought it was extremely weird that Hera did, if she did hear that. I wanted it to be more like Mom finally because she did get down on his level to talk to him, which I like that connectedness, that was kind of lacking in some of the early son mom scenes. So that felt more genuine to me. But yeah, I was like, now she's hearing it, and I'm like, oh, for crying out loud. It's like, everybody's got Force ability. It's like, what the? I want it to be that she was just being a good mom, and she genuinely knows he's got abilities, and she's like, that's good enough for me. If you're hearing it, then we're going to go take another look. Get back in the air, Tiva.
You know what? That's what I took it as. Yeah, we could hear it in the audio effects because he was. I think she was just being, you know what? I trust my kid. We're going to do this. But I don't think she could hear it. Rolando does make a good point, though. Maybe she just had some Force residue left.
Oh, Rolando.
Wow.
Oh.
Wow, Lando. Oh my gosh.
Oh, anyway.
So here's the thing. I was fully with that because I was like, oh, we finally see his Force powers. But when I rewatched it several times and I see her eyes with it, to me, she honestly hears it. And I was thinking maybe because they're in that quote unquote spiritual place, it's more evident.
Amplified.
So that's why I was thinking. I don't think Hera has Force powers at all. I just think because of where they were at, it was easier for Jason to pick up because he is Force sensitive, but with her because of that. So that's why I thought that. But
that's fair.
That's a cool take. Yeah.
There is enough ambiguity in this episode where you can make it your own in your own head, apparently. Yeah.
Yeah.
Luke only had 10 minutes of training and he blew up the Death Star with the Force. So fair enough. Yeah, it's just
there you go.
True. But no, I really enjoyed Jason's acting and him, finally getting to kind of flex his muscles. Like he's not just like, who brought the kid?
Right.
God, is this yours? Take him back to the ship already. That he's genuinely contributing.
Yes, he is.
Yep.
And that to me is very rebellish. If we're going to go back to the cartoon, it was the whole gang is working together. So I like that he's already a part of that.
You make an excellent point, and it just happens to work out well with our next slide, Pete. So with respect, I'd like to stick with you for just a second because we're talking about how she's got, what is it, probably a 12, 13-year-old kid there at max with her. The irony is our next flashback scene is a 14-year-old warrior. When you saw this, because Kat, I'm going to go to you because I know you have plenty to say, but let's get with Pete real fast here. When you saw this, all this, what's going on in your head, man?
Yeah, I rewatched this scene, I don't know, 3-4 times because I'm like, we have live action Phase 1 clones. I was like, this is freaking awesome. Yeah. Because I did enjoy the Clone Wars so much as a cartoon series. So this was great to have that. And it was, the give and take between Ahsoka and Anakin was very spot on in how the cartoon was and their banter back and forth, like in the middle of this battle, they're still arguing or like, come on, get your rear in gear. We got to go, and they're deflecting, blaster hits. It was really cool.
I agree. Kat, I could hear you screaming in Phoenix when this came up.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
Not that important. I mean.
Right? A lot of people said it. I think little Gamora did a good job. Excuse me, little Ahsoka did a good job here, same actress. What's going through your head, ma'am?
So I was really shocked that it was a smaller version. I thought it was going to be a adult one. So I thought that was a great surprise with it. Of course, I started crying harder because it brought me right back to the Clone Wars and their whole emotional journey and stuff like that. And can I just say, he is rocking the Clone Wars armor just like he did in the cartoon. Like, he looks amazing in this. Like, he's awesome. But I think he also, because when you watch the Clone Wars series, Matt Lancer puts his own kind of like little I don't want to say spin, but I guess spin on Anakin. And I
Mhm.
feel like Hayden totally brings that out in them. He's having fun, he's kind of joking, you know, and stuff like that. And he's like, we gotta go and all that kind of stuff. And I do like the fact that when she's like, this is the Clone Wars, he's like, yeah, duh, like, okay. And then she's like, why are we here? And he's like, you tell me. I think that's very profound in like what we're about to see, which I absolutely love, because she's calling the shots here. Why is she so held up with stuff that's in her past? We're gonna go where she's having the most issues with. So I really appreciated that line, because I was like, well, that's a deep line for me. But no, I think she killed it with that. I just watched the movie 65. I didn't know that was the girl with Adam Driver in it. I think she's an awesome little girl. I didn't know she was little Gamora. I thought she killed it as Ahsoka. So this first little part, I was crying. I was yelling at the TV. I was excited. I was overwhelmed. I was excited to see where the crap they're at.
Exactly. So I think what I love about having you two on here is, Pete, you're noticing more of the practical application. I mean, you appreciate the spiritual stuff that's going on, but you're noticing like the practical stuff and Phase 1 clones. You notice some of them even had blue and accents on them. It was so cool. Our next slide, Pete, is one that Jonathan pointed. I joked about it earlier. One thing that jumped out was, if you can't afford Tamora Morrison, just wrap the clone's face in leave
those helmets on and put some gauze on an injured man.
Exactly.
You can avoid his voice, not his face.
There you go. And JT puts it best. That was his voice. I did verify that, but they did not use his likeness for whatever reason.
Right.
Probably it's too much CGI. They're already doing it on these two. Pete, let's stick with you. We noticed the practical applications of what's going on here. When she's over here with this clone, what do you think's going on? What are they trying to show us, and how did you feel?
This is probably where I got the most emotional, I think, out of this. I didn't cry for Anakin showing up, but the fact just
why? Sorry. I don't understand that.
Boys cry too. No.
Okay. That's fine.
That clone sliding his hand over to her hand, you know, in that post-battle scene, you know, obviously he's in dire straits, and she's there just even trying to comfort him, and she's trying to process the whole fact of, we lost so many clones fighting, and this doesn't bother you, Anakin? Like, these high prices that we're paying, like, you think this is worth it? You know, are you crazy?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you've got that 12-year-old, like, I don't know. What are we doing here? Yep.
Kat, I'm going to ask you the same thing in just a second. Pete, that just made me think of a good question. Are we here in her head? Because whether we're actually here or not, a lot of this is being driven by her head. Are we here because she still has hung up issues with the Clone Wars and all that death and destruction?
I think so, because, I mean, take a look at the catastrophic scale of what that war was. I mean, she's not taking it lightly, and obviously it's like many warriors, it's still with her. It's still troubling her. It's not just the Clone Wars. Yeah, we won. Moving on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's some deep problems going on in her head. So, yeah, I liked it. That
Kat,
conflict right there. Her face. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Kat, you've put it succinctly in the past, and I think they really brought it home this time. You mentioned PTSD. What do you got out of this?
So, absolutely love the shot. It made me cry harder. Him putting, like what Pete said, putting his hand on her hand and stuff. And I think what makes it so much more impactful is when you step over to the Anakin shot and you see the clone in the back room and you see Twi'leks. They're on the Battle of Ryloth, which she was in charge of clones this time, and she killed most of them off. I think that's why we're brought to this one, because he's forcing her to confront basically what's holding her up. Why she basically closed herself off. It's because of all these certain moments. And I think for this is because, they've lost before and stuff like that. And he's kind of not taking her because he's been through that. But this is her first time failing her men. This is her first time failing so many people, and her feeling the gravity of losing so many lives. So I think that's why particular, and I'm pretty sure that's that's where we're at with that. That's how I took it anyway. But I think that's why we see this first shot, is because that's the first one that really impacted her truly. And then that's when she started questioning things and started putting things into her head with that.
Wow. Okay. Really quick.
Sorry.
There's crazy.
No,
good to see you.
You're spot on, because they could have put any other species in the background, right? I mean, many other planets were battled on, but
right. That was her first major loss. She was in charge, and then that's what he said. He said, yeah, we're put in charge to lead because we're Jedis. He goes, but that doesn't mean we make mistakes. And she's seeing that. And then she gets a little irritated with him joking stuff. Well, he's been in it. He feels the loss. He does. You've seen it throughout the Clone Wars that he's not unfeeling, but he's been through it enough with the highs and lows. He knows how to basically kind of get through it. And I think that kind of shows he's kind of numb to it. She is such an emotional character that we see throughout the show, and that really gives her a strength. And then I think that kind of shows with Anakin. Yes, he is such an emotional guy, but it led them on two different kind of halves. He became numb to it. She never did. And then seeing him, she kind of shuts down, which I'll go into a little bit later. But I think this kind of starts showing that.
Okay. Now this acid trip makes more sense to me, because I didn't know that we were specifically pick. If that's her first battle and her first failure, it's obviously stuck in her head. And that's
it's not her first battle, but it's her first taking the lead. Because their first battle was off of Christophas. But this is her first taking the lead with the Battle of Ryloth.
Which kind of brings home, like, when you make decisions, people could die, and that's kind of stuck in her head. You think, Kat, is that what
right? Because she was following Anakin and Obi-Wan and doing what she had to do. She was never put in charge. She had to help with the missions and try to make it succeed. Right. She's put in the spotlight. You're leading now. What are you going to do?
Wow. Now it makes a lot more sense to me, because I don't know a lot of this backstory.
You failing at that, and you lost people's life. Not just failing, people died from your decisions. To me, I understand why she's got PTSD. She's got those heavy emotions and stuff like that. Especially because her character is such an emotional character, and she feels everything, which is why I think she gets along with Anakin. But like I said, I think it sets off how he ends up dealing with it and how she does, and they have the different paths that comes to a head in this episode.
Kat, I need you to do me a favor. On the next episode, I would like for you to come prepared and know what you're talking about, if you don't mind.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Wow, woman, that is some excellent analysis. I had no idea. All this makes so much more sense to me, and I'm not kidding with you. I'm being dead serious. That's crazy. Cool. Pete, what are you getting out of this, man, before I move on to the next slide?
Yeah, I was like, okay, I didn't know Ryloth was where she first commanded, but that makes a lot of sense. I'm in awe.
Now it makes more sense to me. Okay. And I love that they're thinking about a number of different Star Wars audiences when they're doing this show sometimes, because we're getting this very heavy dialogue. You've basically got a tween talking about death and destruction and how she's got PTSD. And then Pete, the next scene we get is he's like, okay, I did what you said. Go lower now, bitch. Really? Okay. So it's kind of like we get a little bit of levity out of this. Pete, what's going on in your head? We get Paul again. I love him.
Yeah, I love that he was featured so prominently in this episode. It's just great. But it's like, I don't know, any lower, and we're gonna have to be submarines or something.
He's like super practical. He's like, all right, you want to? I'm not on a boat, lady. What do you want me to do here? Well, okay, go lower.
I took it too as that, in his head, he's like, fleet's coming. Like, we're gonna, the time is running short. Like, we either have to produce something here or it's time to cut bait.
Yeah. You already responded to him. Come on, Kat, do your homework.
Yeah, I said crazy, but I meant JT. JT. Okay. I'm sorry. I saw crazy on there. And I was like, oh, crazy, and then I my bad. But yeah, I'll do better next week, guys. Sorry.
Absolutely, Kat. I want to talk to you about Carson Teva for a second, but I want to answer Michael's question. I have one of these helmets already. It came from a private shop, and it was garbage, and the whole experience was terrible. So it's in a box, and I put it away. They did announce what do they call it? Pipeline that Black Series is going to do his helmet. I'm probably going to buy 8 and just wear them all as one big uniform and dance around my house. Just
Why not?
So, yeah, exactly.
Why not?
Yeah.
I almost wore my really crappy Rex helmet today.
You know what? If I'd had more time, I was going to pull my Ahsoka clone helmet out and put it up here, but I was button seat just as we went live.
Great.
So yeah.
Great. Yeah.
Kat, what are you thinking about the compare and contrast? We're getting all this heavy stuff, but we're also getting Carson Teva and some of this stuff in here. Is this good for you, or are you mad that they're doing it?
No, I think the jumps are needed because you don't want just heavy all the time because you need to know what's going on both sides. So I think it keeps, for me at least, it keeps me immersed of something like, oh, okay. And it's not an awkward transition. I think this episode, all of the beautiful transitions, whether they're fighting, we see what happens with Anakin later in this, like it is seamless throughout. So, and I love Carson so much. Like, I love that man. Like, he is just hilarious. And he's like, yo, Hera, what about you? Like, how much are we going to do this? Like, wait, just do it. Okay. Do what you're told and be quiet. Like, that's what she's saying to him. And he's just like, yeah, okay, crazy lady. But
whatever,
I love it.
Stuck between my sisters here. Who do I pick? Well, she's closer, so I'll go with her. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Did you also... Sorry,
please,
I wanted to jump in there. Did you also notice that she wasn't calling him commander or lieutenant? She was just calling him by his name, which I thought was really weird. Or, I mean, it truly spoke to like how off the books this whole operation is. It's like, yeah, command structure, schman structure. Hey, Teva.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
How's your fuel? Well, it's about ready to go into the red zone. Great. Keep going.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Cat typo. That's an excellent point, Pete, because I think what she's doing is subtly trying to get him on her side by personalizing herself. Instead of, Commander, you'll do what General... She's like, come on, Carson, let's get this done, son. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. And can I just say, I agree with what Michael was saying here. Where's Zeb? He should be with her. Where the crap is Zeb? I want live action Zeb in Ahsoka. He was in Mando. He belongs with his family. Where the crap is he? And if he's not in this show, I'm going to be really upset. Because he looks amazing. You know, you're afraid of it doesn't translate from animation to live action, but they did an amazing job in Mando. I know so where is he? Yeah.
I know he was just at the bar. We didn't get like full on him walking around, but still it was excellent done. I have a feeling he's going to pop up when she's headed back to Fleet HQ to Home One, and the poop's going to hit the fan. I think Zeb's going to be around.
I hope so. I just want to see him. That's all. I just want him in this series. So
Zeb's dead, baby.
Rick. Oh my God, Rick.
Zed's dead.
Zed. Okay, Rick's grounded.
It's like, just kidding. Zeb lives. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, God doggone it, keeps jumping at me. Rolando, I was hearing Carson talk like he was in Kim's Convenience trying to stall that last scene. We'll get there. I thought, I was really...
Yeah.
And JT's with you guys. I'm actually kind of surprised we haven't seen him yet, too, because I figured that's why they put him in Mando, right?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Peekaboo tease.
Well, hold on. Maybe Kat, you can explain this, and Pete, you probably know, too. Zeb even being in the New Republic makes 0 sense considering how Rebels ended. What does that mean?
So with Rebels, unless you want to talk about it, you can talk about it.
I don't know.
Go, Kat.
Okay. So I forget the one guy. I can't even remember. But basically, he found at the end of it, this guy that they've been back and forth with that changes sides with them. They take him to a hidden world that has his kind. So throughout the whole series, Zeb is the last of his kind. And this guy was basically responsible for killing out his kind. Well, come to find out, that's not true. They're on a hidden planet and they're thriving. And he was allowed to come with them and join and be one of the people, basically, is accepted as Zeb. So that's where they're at. But I don't care. He needs to be with them and show up.
I think, once a fighter, always a fighter. I mean, Zeb is just this battle-hardened asset that you can't ever discount. Like, he brings some serious synergy to your battle. So I think he would be right in the mix. And
sorry, keep going.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, it's been a few years. He's had a vacation. He's had doing whatever he wants. he can come help his family. I don't understand the problem.
So, just based off what Kat told me, what he probably did, if I understand how families work, well, he went home, got to see all his people, everybody, all the in-laws, anything. Oh, this is great. Now I remember why I ran off and joined the first time. You people are annoying. And he's like, all right, I got enough of my family. Can I leave now? You know, like, family reunions all well and good.
I think
in theory.
Yes.
He left Callus there with him, like, here, he really likes you guys, and he's very sorry. Look, he needs to be consoled. I gotta go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. My dad's even more annoying than I remember. Ugh, you know. JT, I believe that's a compliment for you, Kat. Is Kat Wikipedia?
No, I just have no life, and I'm a nerd.
Don't apologize.
First of all, that's awesome, and second of all, I don't see anybody in the chat or on screen here to whom that doesn't apply. So I think you're a good company. You know, I don't think Pete and I could argue with you. I mean, he's got toys in his background, and I've got plastic helmets, so we're all in good company here. So yeah,
right, exactly. That's why we're all friends, and this works.
Exactly. Kat, I'd like to stick with you on this one because we went from other. There you go. Catopedia hashtag. So we go back and forth, and Pete, you had talked about this before, and they're starting to do it now, where we're getting wipes back and forth to see what everybody's doing interspersed. And then this one shocked me because the transition on purpose was like, pow, Battle of Mandalore. I've actually seen this. Kat, what's going on? What'd you think?
I loved it. I loved how they. Because the first ones we see with the flashback, she's right out of the first few episodes with her in it, and now she's older. I don't remember what these things are called. I know it's not Leiku, but her things, it's a little bit longer. There's a close up later on with Anakin coming into the shot, and they're standing next to each other, which is a perfect mirror of the Clone Wars with Anakin and her. And she looks, just right out of Clone Wars. Just right out of Clone Wars, which I absolutely love. She looks amazing with that. This also for me was, okay, so they showed the Battle of Ryloth. Now they're showing Mandalore. Well, she basically helped destroy a whole planet, whole people. That was, devastating for her. And so I think that's why we see Ryloth and Mandalore, because those two were the heavy hitters. It wasn't, to me, again, this isn't all random. And then like at the back of the beginning when she said, why are we here? And he said, you tell me, because she's the one that she's going through what's hurting her the most. What does she have to work through? And for me, it's these two. And then with their kind of conversation, and then a little bit before when he's walking away, we see a beautiful transition of it's Anakin, and then it turns into Darth Vader for a second, and the horror kind of looks on her face. This is what it's been about. He's so kind of nonchalant, and she feels so much, and she's so terrified of, that's what I'm going to turn into. And I feel like this is why she's shut off. She had the first battle, now she's had this. She has devastated world. She's devastated people. People depended on her, and it's like she keeps making the wrong decisions. Well, Anakin was so emotional, he turned into Vader. I'm going to shut myself off to feeling anything. I'm going to shut myself off to feeling being around people and be a loner. And I think really we've seen that throughout this whole thing, and how she reacts to Sabine and everything with that. So I think it's a pretty heavy scene for me, at least.
Pete, good luck, man. What you got?
I'm sorry.
Hi, my name is Pete, and I really liked it.
Right, exactly. Pete, I'm gonna throw you a bone because you and I kind of see the same stuff.
I got. How?
Check it out, Captain Rex.
That was, cool. And I know you didn't have it. Well, maybe in the other one, the Ahsoka troopers. I was like, yes.
Yeah, over here. There's one right there.
There you go.
Yeah.
I was like, that's badass.
I saw them too.
Yeah, as soon as you saw this was Siege of Mandalore, I was like, oh damn. And how conflicted, is she feeling? One of her best friends is House of Ren, Mando, and is now missing. She's got to try and figure out, where are you? But, oh, by the way, remember when I slaughtered a whole bunch of your people?
Oh, yeah.
Oops.
because I remember season 7 of the Clone Wars. I watched it so we could do one of the Bad Batch things. Correct me if I'm wrong. These guys by now are led by Darth Maul. These are Maul-Delorians. Is that what that is?
Yes.
They're not Maul-Delorians, but yes.
That's right. Okay, so they're Mandalorians led by Darth Maul, and I just matched them. Yeah, I heard that somewhere.
I like
yeah,
that mashup.
Yeah, they're Maul-Delorians.
That's a great name, though.
I ship it.
Okay. Okay, yeah. So I have an idea of where we are, and then of course Mandalorian has helped us really see the end effects of all this too, because you know we go back to the planets. I could have done without an Imperial base being there, but we won't get into that. Sorry. Anyway,
Right.
But yeah, here's where we know for a fact we got Tomorrow's voice. That's definitely him talking. Do you guys agree with me?
Yes.
Absolutely.
That was absolutely delicious.
I started crying again with this scene and hearing it. I was like, it's no more. Okay. Yeah. That was a mess.
Cat's hyperventilating.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I was.
So, Kat, I put this slide in here to remind me to ask you guys a very specific question. At this point, I think I know the answer now because it all makes much more sense to me. Are they just throwing stuff in to make us all giddy? Is this too much fan service? And why? What's the significance of having Captain Rex here, Kat?
So obviously they had a close relationship in the Clone Wars because that was Anakin's right-hand man. Yep. But you really see it in Rebels. She had such a close relationship at the end of everything, especially at the end of Clone Wars, and what happened with them between those two. And then in Rebels, she's trying to find her friend, all this kind of stuff. So they have a really deep bond. So I'm not surprised that he's in there. I absolutely love it. I don't care if it's fan service. I think we all love it so much that we've been wanting it. And it's not there for no reason. It's there for a purpose to help her through hers. And he is a big part, just like Anakin was. So I absolutely love it. I think it's great. And I have to say, I'm finally happy that in this scene, she's finally dual wielding again. Yeah. That's been bugging me. So I love that she's gone back to that. And this actress is amazing. She was not like, 1, 2, 3, kind of like how she was, the adult version was. She just killed it for me. I bought that this was younger Ahsoka 100%.
I hate to say this, but she's more convincing as Ahsoka than actually Rosario is. Maybe because we know this version of the character. But anyway,
yeah.
Pete, somebody. Jonathan kind of disagrees with Rick and I here. Is throwing all this stuff in and including Captain Rex, is it just kind of a nod to older stuff and Pete Filoni playing in his playground, or is there a reason here, and are you happy with it?
No, I mean, it's a total nod fan service, but it's an appropriate one. I think if Rex had just appeared in a vision, we'd all be like, what?
Huh?
But the fact that this is a battle scene, I was like, cool, we got Rex in there as well. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So I was not aware of the very close relationship that those two had. I missed it. I missed so much of this era of Star Wars, Cat. So thank you. That makes more sense to me now too, because I'm like, oh, cool, Captain Rex. Are they going to redo his figure? Well, I don't understand. Why are we getting him? It makes sense.
If you watch the later Clone Wars seasons, a lot what happens, this will completely change your mind about. You're like, oh.
All right. Help me out here. I did watch season 7, but I had to binge it in a hurry so I could be prepared for Bad Batch. Is he the one? Yeah, I know, right? Bad Batch. There's months of my life I'll never get back. Anyway, is he the one that she saved right towards the end before all the clones? Okay, so that makes sense. That's the one that was helping her out against the other clones, right?
Yep.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. JT, for me, it's Ahsoka's relationship with Anakin that really highlights his tragic fall to the dark side. Well,
yes.
Yeah. What does he mean by that, Kat? Is it because she just happened to be there while he was going through all this, or did the way she react help him do that?
I mean, again, I've kind of talked about it before, is they're both very emotional. You see that in the earlier, episodes of Star Wars with Anakin. He's very emotional, especially, when his mother died when he was a little kid. He was just taken from her, all this stuff. He's a very emotional kid. They even said, no, he's too old, blah, blah, blah. She's a very emotional Padawan, but for her, it's a strength. And she's very in tune with her feelings. so is he, but he's turned it into where I feel like he's became numb to the situation. So then they both, I felt like, were going down the same path, and one just kind of stopped feeling too much, and then she started seeing what happened to him. And so, and we get that with the vision of him turning, and then during when this is happening and they're talking about it, she even says that he goes, "You're more than your legacy," which I feel pulls us back with Balin, and him saying your legacy is death. And she says that, I'm part of this legacy too. This is crap. Basically, I'm so upset with this. This is her whole thing. She's so wrapped up. I don't want to be a part of Anakin's legacy because this is what he is. And he literally said, "I'm more than that. I'm more than that." And he proved that when he took down the Emperor in Return of the Jedi and everything like that. And she's not getting past that. And so I just feel like he finally saw it. He finally learned away. She's hung up and she's just shut down. He went overboard and she just shut down. And that's why we see her. If you notice, she doesn't smile. She doesn't laugh, really. She's just so very serious. And she is such a loner. She pushed Sabine away because she is just like, I can't do attachments because look at what my master did. He went overboard with it. I'm so afraid of becoming that. And I feel like if I even show a little bit, I'm going to turn into that. Sorry. Sorry.
Don't apologize, because I feel bad for Pete, because I got to go over to him and go, you want to add something to that, Pete?
No further questions, Your Honor.
No, I love that I can love it because I can bring kind of the crushing guilt that she feels because she left Anakin has got to be just for it. We talked about for as badly as she feels for all those clones that lost their lives. They were valuable to her. They weren't just machines like the separatist droids. But then even higher is that, or even a more paramount is that guilt that she abandoned Anakin, and she knows what happened to him, and that's we're always getting those double shots like we were talking about, where it's Anakin and then you get the Vader silhouette, and it's Anakin and so I'm just so poignant that she knows what he became, and she's beating herself up that maybe she could have steered him away from that.
So I'm noticing something that's going on. Our viewership is staying pretty much right where it is. We get between 17 and 20 people, so people aren't leaving. But when Kat starts doing her very intuitive monologues, the chat just dead stops, because I think everybody's like, oh yeah, dude. So that's impressive. I mean, it just dead stops. Like nobody's chatting, they're all just staring at the screen going, holy crap, Kat knows. It's brilliant.
Sorry.
Oh man. So let's see what Jonathan has to say here, because it's the first comment we've gotten in like 10 minutes. Ahsoka was all emo chick heavy in Rebels, nor in Mando season 2. This is just Filoni majorly altering a character in their own series out of nowhere, and was done with Boba Fett. That's an interesting take, Jonathan. I don't know that I agree with that, but I can see where you're coming from for sure. Uh-oh. Go, Kat. She said, hey, Pete. She said, all right, we go. Yeah.
I think I saw, obviously she smiled a little bit because of Grogu. She was kind of excited to see them, but there's still, to me, she was very stoic. She was very she's on a planet alone, doing what? Trying to find Thrawn again, all this kind of stuff. I still feel like she just was very cut off of everything with it, but I don't know.
Connor says everybody's catmatized.
There you go.
Yep.
Thanks, Brian.
Yeah. Thanks, Brian. Well, you're doing an awesome job, Josh, and I want you to keep it up. So, yeah. God, JT. Yeah, no doubt that was guy like catmatized. Well, since we're all catmatized, Kat, where we're going next. You guys have mentioned it.
No.
He keeps flipping back and forth. I think I know why this is going on. Kat, tell me what's going on and why are we seeing him do this? Because it only gets worse later.
Okay, so I love this, and the part right before it where he's like, "You've learned nothing," and he goes, "All right, it's time to die," basically, right? So when his eyes change, we don't have a picture of that, but his eyes change. Holy crap. That transition before, like when they're still in her little like fever dream type thing, right? And I absolutely love that. And it's basically, I'm forcing you to relive these. So it was very poignant. We went to Ryloth. It was very poignant. We went to Mandalore. And now guess what? And I love this when he gets this little shoulder roll, like, okay, I'm going to kick your ass now. Let's go. And then he turns into Vader for her. I mean, those are her hangups. That's her ultimate thing is I'm going to be Vader, or I'm going to turn into him, or I'm going to do damage like he did. So I think it's very fitting. I absolutely love it because ultimately he goes, that's her major hangup. So guess what? You're going to face it and you're going to choose right here and now. Are you going to do what I did, or are you going to get past it? So 1,000,000,000,000,000,000%, I was bawling my eyes and screaming at the TV, and I loved every second of this.
I can't believe how much of the metadata of these scenes I missed. And then to sit here and listen to you say that, Kat, I was like, oh, cool. He's fighting her and being a pain in the ass to her, and she'll figure out what no, there's a meaning behind all this, and it's really cool. Pete, I don't mean to beat a dead horse, but I mean, what you got, bro?
I mean, how cool was it that, okay, so he's toggling back and forth in several scenes between Anakin and Vader. Now he's Anakin, but his lightsaber be red.
Yeah. Yes.
I was like, oh, and then, like you said, Kat, his eyes get that, Sithy, ragey, bloodshot, crazy. And yeah, she has, in an instant, because this whole thing has been, do you want to live? Do you want to die? And the fact that she could have joink with the saber and went, all right, it's over. Instead, she chose, I want to live, and just saber drop.
Pete.
I thought that was huge.
That's brilliant. You know what this reminds me of? And I'm being dead serious. That's damn right. You can get busy living or you can get busy dying. From Shawshank Redemption. That's what this is, a Shawshank Redemption moment. Either live your life or don't, but pick. That is awesome. Wow. Kat, on these three slides here where he's flipping back and forth and the battle begins, because you know what the next one is. Did you get out what you wanted to say on these? Because that gives it a whole new meaning to me.
I just want to say a disclaimer. Okay. He's the GOAT. She could never really beat him. But for this aesthetic, I'm okay with it. It was needed, but I'm just saying he's the GOAT. So
you know what? I guess you could say towards the end she won, but I think he's doing that on purpose. He let her, I'm like, okay, you're in the right.
So. Okay. Again, he's the GOAT, but I'm okay with all of that. It was needed for her story and her drive, so I'm good with it.
I agree.
Yep. In fact, he says there's hope for you yet.
Yes. Yeah. But we did miss I think the final moment here that I got a specific slide for this because I want to talk about this. I actually did, I think, catch the symbolism here. Pete, I'd like to start with you so that you don't have to follow Kat. Because good luck. Did you catch?
I wasn't going to say anything.
Yeah, you were going to say all the things, and it was going to be awesome. No.
And that's okay.
Yeah, exactly. We love you for it. This has been one of the best episodes yet because I'm like, I finally understand this acid trip we went on. But Pete, is our Ahsoka's eyes an accident? And if they're not, what's going on here and why? And what did you think?
No, I did not take it as an accident. I saw it as that brief glimpse of what she could be to the dark side. And then she quickly is like, there's this, constant self-analysis going on, and so, her eyes are now just as red and Sithy like his. And she pulls it back from that precipice. Like I said, she could have easily just, and like, all right, dark side, here we are. And she didn't. She just saber dropped.
Kat, once again, we got to this point. She's got her saber up to his throat. His saber up to his throat. I can hear you screaming all the way down here from Colorado. What's up, girl?
So this reminded me a lot of with Return of the Jedi and Luke with Vader, and him not striking down his father and, no, I'm a Jedi like my father was before me type thing. I feel like it had a lot of those similar vibes with it. And she did everything that, he basically retrained, finished her training off with it, it came to this point. This is what she's been afraid of the most. How is she going to react? And she did. She had that moment of, how am I going to do it? And she showed her to herself of, no, I want to live. And I love the transition with Hayden and how he backs up and he kind of closes his eyes for a second. Again, amazing eye acting. Hello, Hera. Anyway, and he just looks and he kind of smiles her. Well, when he looks back at her with that smile and his eyes are normal, she takes the biggest sigh. And it honestly, it made me start crying, because it made me feel like with Obi-Wan in the Obi-Wan show, when he finally, he's being buried by rocks and he kind of, sees through because of Leia and everything, and Luke, and it kind of like saves him and he pushes through. It's that big breakthrough moment. I felt like this was her moment, and she could let all of that crap go. She was more than just destruction and death of the legacy. She's the part that Anakin was trying to get through to her. That's what I felt like in that moment.
Or she didn't bother killing him because she's seen episode 1 and 2 of the series and knows lightsabers don't kill anybody anymore. Or Jonathan.
Or that.
Or that. Yeah.
Or that.
I'm going to skewer you and then I'll force heal you.
Exactly right. Yeah. Oh, Pete, why? I can't start drinking this early in the day. Don't do that to me. So I told you guys earlier at the end of this episode, I really got a huge Empire Strikes Back feel. But I'm going to be honest with you about something. Pete, I'd like to get your take on this really fast. This slide where she about, and then this slide, is he using the same lesson on Ahsoka that Luke taught him in Return of the Jedi? Is this like a Return of the Jedi Luke coming to Jesus moment here? Is that what that is?
I think you could translate that, very easily. Yes. I mean, we're coming at it from so many angles.
Right. Kat, am I? Because I got, like I said, Empire Strikes Back, but this one moment right here, the redemption of Ahsoka. Now, the more you guys talk about this, the more I see that lesson that Luke taught him on the Death Star, where you can be brought right to the brink, and then is that what you're getting out of this kind of thing, or is it something different?
No, I think it's mostly Luke, but I feel like with all the other shows and everything like that, I think it's a combination of it. But definitely Luke, because his son saved him, his son brought him back, so of course he's going to pull from that mostly, I think. But I think from all of it that he finally was able to reach past everything, and he just wanted that for Ahsoka for so long. So, but yeah, I totally get Luke vibes from that with that.
Nice. Let's see what Dino has to say here. Kat, you should be thanking her. If it wasn't for her, you would be crying through the whole episode. There you go.
Yeah, I'd rather
Right?
cry
Yeah.
during the whole episode. I'm good.
Yeah.
Had to rewatch it six times.
I will say we didn't really. I think we're about to go into this with it. When Hewing is talking to Hera, and he's like, "Oh, everybody likes you because you're so nice." I literally said, "Yeah, the animated version." Like, I have no love for this live action chick. I just don't. I don't. It's not in me, and I'm okay with that.
I think that's absolutely fair. So I think we know that your character is Hera. Pete, that's a good question for you, sir. Do you have a character in this show that, when they're on, you could just absolutely do without, like Kat is for Hera? Or what are you feeling?
That I can absolutely do without.
Yeah. Do you have a strong negative opinion about anybody in this thus far?
I don't have
and if you don't,
I don't have a strong negative opinion, but yeah, I feel like Hera's a very wooden performance so far. I want so much more for her. I loved her character in Rebels. She was like a badass mother hen, flying the ghost. She wasn't just like a pretty green face. And now everybody needs to get their rest. Like she's, in the thick of the battle and, flying in to scoop them and load them up out of hairy situations and all that. And I'm kind of wanting that. Maybe we'll get to that in some part of this show.
Right, yeah. With all the episodes we have left. Yeah.
We don't have that many left. So I don't know. Season 2?
Right. So for Rick, it's Ahsoka, the title character. For Jonathan,
Great.
it's Sabine, who I think
Really?
that the actor, which is weird. I think the character Sabine, or the actress, is doing a good job. The character is annoying me because she's making really childish decisions, but she doesn't bother me. And then of course Rick, I'd kill for a whole episode where we talk about Balin. That wouldn't hurt my feelings at all, you guys.
Yeah,
Great.
I think he's one of the standout characters in this whole series.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So she apparently passes Anakin's Jedi trials, is what I'm going to call that from now on. He finished her training, and she's saved. Either that or she starts to come to in the water from her own hallucination. Either way, it was a very cool sequence. About that whole Clone Wars fever dream, Kat, what else did you have? Did you have anything else? Did I miss anything?
No, I think we pretty much. I think it's just, she finally has peace with her legacy, which is Balin got to her by saying it. Her revisions with Anakin got to her saying it. She could not stand it. You could see it with the little actress. Even her action, acting was on point with it. No, yeah, that's my legacy. Oh, great. Is that all? Is that all I'm worth? So I think it just really helps to set up for her confrontation with Thrawn and Balin, and she's gonna kick some booty.
Some bootissimus. Pete, I enjoyed this sequence, from a practical standpoint, the clones, we talked about all that stuff, and I got a kick out of, the interaction, and then you guys have really brought it home for me, and now I enjoy it even more. I might go actually watch this episode a second time. But before we move out of this Clone Wars fever dream, this, acid trip Star Wars style, did you get everything out? Was there anything else you were getting out of that whole sequence?
No, the last thing I wanted to get out about that final sequence was the fact that she, we had this water coming up surrounding her. I saw it as almost like a baptismal cleansing moment.
Yeah.
To finish out this, trial and tribulation, and the fact that then she was pulled out of the water. That's how I saw it.
Right.
Oh, kind of like a poltergeist moment. This house is clean.
That's right.
Yeah. I see. All my references are from movies from like the 70s and 80s. That's how old I am. Anyway. Pete, let's stick with you. You're a diver, so I know you use a lot of equipment. I was in the military for a long time. I got a kick out of the fact that we're in Star Wars with all these spaceships and tractor beams, and they tie a rope around a woman and splash her into the water.
Yeah, that was the only tail end. I was like, what in the Sam hell is that? I'm like, that's not futuristic at all. Come on. We're nerds. We're geeks. We love tech and all that. I'm like, nobody put a tractor beam on her butt or jumped in with some kind of futuristic scuba gear. No, let's just bring up Private what's her name and tie a rope around her waist. We're gonna what? Be like, you'll be fine. Shove her in.
She needed one final jump to get her parajumper rescue certification, Pete. Okay.
Yeah, I did not. I mean, with the rope in this sequence, I'm just like, come on.
It was even tied in knots at the top. It wasn't even like, I was like, what the hell? Oh my God. Kat, notice, care, what did you think? And by the way, comment on Pete's take, which I didn't get, which is the cleansing baptism thing. Give me all you got for this.
I could totally see that. I wasn't thinking that, but I could see that because she didn't really look like a piece. She was just like, okay, I'm ready to go under. But I could totally see where he's going with that. Is she's done with that? She can move on. Mm-hmm. And I think you really see that in a few clips later on. And this scene just kind of reminded me of watching The Deadliest Catch with the Coast Guard saving guys out of the Bering Sea.
Right?
So
yeah.
I was like, maybe they watched The Deadliest Catch. I don't know.
Not futuristic at all.
Right.
No.
We needed that narrator to come.
And today they got the biggest haul of crab they've ever seen on the Androdoria.
A few moments later, and she would have been in hypothermia.
Right? Yeah. On a side note, Pete, when we're done here and we go offline, can you just do that thing where you talk into the mic really close for 15 minutes for me? I'm just going to hear this. Listen. It's so nice. It's really nice. It's really nice. It's like ASMR or whatever. So,
do the show like that next week, Kate. All your answers.
Right, super close.
Yeah, right. Oh my God. So speaking of practical effects, then Pete, I want to stick with you, and then Kat, I'd love to hear your take on this. This is just something that I noticed. Correct me if I'm wrong. This is the first time we've ever seen a member of this race without their head thing, and I'm not going to lie, it was a little disconcerting. Pete, what did you think of this?
I thought it was really cool that she's naked, as it were. Easy.
I know you meant like I know.
No,
okay. Yeah.
Like the makeup, the all that. I didn't, because I was like, I'm looking for a line. Like, this is a Star Wars TV show, so I'm like, where did you guys mess up? Like, to pull me back out. And yeah, I thought it was very believable, but also kind of striking in a weird, odd sort of way. Like, whoa, yeah, look,
Right. Really quick, Kat, I want to go over to you on this, but Jonathan, so
Yeah.
Pilot Lady had to land her ship, get in the Ghost, and then they had to fly back to the spot where they found Ahsoka drowning. Hera really is the worst person in the galaxy. Jonathan.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep.
Oh.
Mhm.
Kat.
Yeah.
What did you think? What did you think, ma'am?
It is a little jarring to see her without her headpiece.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've never, even in Clone Wars, I don't remember seeing her. I mean, I could be wrong on that, but I don't remember seeing her without that. I know one part broke off, but it wasn't, totally off. But I think that kind of goes along with what Pete was saying, like totally like kind of the rebirth. She's going to reset. So she's kind of cleaned of everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have some foreshadowing in the next stuff. But I like seeing her like that. It is a little jarring.
Yeah. And Rick was like, wait a minute, I thought the edit was messed up. I had to look at that again. Yeah, it was kind of, for me, it was cool. It was just a little cool thing to see. Yeah, I think they're like the female Twi'leks in that they have like cones or something. You can see right here, you can see little holes. So I think right there, that's where she hears, in case anybody's interested. Pete, before we move on, I have a request. We were talking about you talking into the microphone.
Previously on the Ahsoka breakdown.
Yes, I'm gonna screen grab that and use it. It's gonna be so cool. That was good, man. You got the voice, brother. You got the voice. I tell you what, if Leslie drops the ball, I'm leaving my wife. If you know what I'm saying, okay?
Do I need to get out the stream real quick? Need a moment?
Can you go for a little while? Yeah, I'm gonna pull me and Scuba out.
Fine.
Okay, you just run with it.
I will
Kat.
see you guys next week. Thanks for having me.
Right, exactly. Oh. Kat,
great
Kat
time. I love it.
Yeah. Oh my God. Kat, we'll start with you. I realized that we got to figure out where they went, but I was a little upset that Balin left this on the island. Am I being too harsh? And then tell me what's going on and what you thought, ma'am.
No, I don't think it's. I mean, it's useless now, so it doesn't matter that it's there. I mean, if it was somehow fixable, then I would say that's a little ridiculous. I'm glad it wasn't, honestly, because to me, I'm like, really, like, because I already had in my head how she should be traveling, which was we'll end up seeing later because I was right. But I was fine that. But I did know when she was coming out, I pictured, we talked about a lot. Is this foreshadowing something? When she came out, gray pants, but her poncho was white. I was like, holy crap. She's been in all dark, super dark gray. Are we finally going to see, quote unquote, Ahsoka the White? So I really liked that part of it. And I mean, we've seen her force powers before with her locking onto a memory and seeing it. So I think it was essential for her to have that treasure ball to be able to figure out what happened and then kind of move her to, okay, how are we going to handle this? So I think it made sense leaving it.
Really, really quick, Pete. Of course, I get on here and I start joking about leaving my wife, and look who shows up. Hi,
Someone's
Sarah.
sleeping on the couch.
Yeah, I was just kidding. Hi, Sarah. Just kidding.
Tonight on Paul Sleeps on the Couch.
Exactly. Yeah.
And no dinner.
Is the next show going to be you in your car or?
Yeah, right. Yeah, it'll be all
Give it
shaky
in?
on my phone. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there'll be a different background. It'll be a hotel room in the background.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go. All right. That or
I
Pete's
love
couch.
Right, exactly. That's actually not too far from the truth if I keep running my mouth. Fair enough. Okay. Pete, I love Connor here. This map is effectively an unboxed vintage figure with missing accessories now. Exactly.
Yeah.
What the?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Kat's looking at the bright side of this, Pete, because, at this point, yeah, it's effectively worthless as a map. You could use it to make a watch, though, based on what I'm seeing inside there, but she still gets information from it. Is this an oversight on Balin's? Did he do it on purpose? Or was it just a plot point? And what did you think?
I think it was just a plot point. Yeah, we needed something to anchor this memory, and obviously she was touching that right before and get swept away. So we got to have some way where they catch up. Because we know if you're off by a little, you're off by a mile. So we gotta have that. And yes, as you said, Kat, I totally saw that. Where we end a whale of a good time.
Well, Pete, stick with it then. Go.
Well, before we go to that, I wanted to say this is how I reversed. So when she came out in that white cloak, I was like, whoa. And that's why I went back in the whole water baptism thing. And then now she's coming out kind of, born again as a Jedi, if you will. But what's with the whales? Stick with me. Always bailing these guys out. Everybody get that?
Yeah.
Oh, you got it.
No, because it wasn't right on the nose.
The baleen.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Leslie's rolling her eyes at me over. Like,
I was gonna say,
you didn't do it. You did.
I can hear her cringing in the background.
She's like, she's leaving now. She's going.
Oh, look, you guys can move in together now.
Yeah, my wife will drop me off with my toys. Yeah, exactly. I see Sarah banging on your door, Pete, going, "Hey, can Pete come out to play? I'm leaving Paul here." Yeah, so yeah. But yeah, so the whales at this point show up very conveniently, I might add. Pete, I know you liked the whales. You had mentioned them before.
Yeah, I
done
like
well.
The whales.
Good scene.
Yeah, we knew. We saw in earlier episodes that they were up there playing whirly swirly. So yeah, that was. I'm like, how else are they going to get there? They don't have time to construct some giant ass ring and do the same, and that would have been really lame. So we've seen these whales save their bacon multiple times in Rebels. So yes, this makes a lot of sense that we're also going to use them in this show. So yeah, we got to have the I'm the whale whisperer.
Yeah. Kat, what are your thoughts? What's going on? How did it make you feel?
I was hoping that they were going to use them, because why else show them if you're not going to use them, if you're not going to include them somehow? I mean, because they obviously weren't. Because I was thinking, okay, are they doing something with the ring? Do they have some connection with that? I mean, they're being shown for a purpose. And I always thought, I know I said on one of my puzzle streams last week that she's just going to use them to travel. Like, that's how you get around it. That's how I love the fact that they're going to utilize it just like they did in Rebels. So that's an exciting fact for me.
And the fact she picked an older, we're assuming a whale that's been around. Like, he knows what's went down with Thrawn and Ezra. So he's, there's like this collective whale conscience. So he knows where you need to go.
Yeah.
Pete, I got to back you 100% on that she's just like my wife. She sees the value in an older man. She knows. Yeah.
How you doing?
Yeah. What's up, girly friends? Pete, you got some Star Trek fans out there backing you up, brother. I even get this line.
Whales here. I love that, Scotty.
Yeah. Yeah.
Transparent aluminum. Bring it.
Yes. Computer. Just use the keyboard. Yeah. Okay.
How quaint.
How quaint, exactly. Would that be something worth to you, laddie? Of course, Jonathan, ever the pragmatist. Well, 100% they're going to get to throw through the whales. So you got to love him. Speaking of stuff that's driving me crazy, Pete, I want to start with you. Forgot. The rules is the rules, and the facts is the facts. Help me out here, Pete.
Yeah, I'm like, come on, you're on a one-on-one communique. Let your hair down. We know that you really want to help. Stop doing the whole, like, what is this? Who's monitoring? Like, you're going to have to come before the subcommittee of the blah, blah, blah. And the fact that, okay, so she's busting Hera's butt, because I rewatched this while we were driving today. Mm-hmm. No, I was not driving. I was passenger watching. The fact that Hera's, she's like, all right, did you capture them? No. Well, do you have any proof of, Imperial activity? No. I'm like, wait a minute. In all of this, again, sci-fi environment,
right?
What? There was no cameras, or we can't recall the giant space ring and the, all that going on. Like, that alone would be enough to satisfy the subcommittee for, possible Imperial penetrations into our new government. I was screaming bullshit.
Yes.
I really was.
Is this not the same woman who was running a cell during Andor and then, led the whole thing during OT? Oh, my God. Kat, what do you got on this, man? What's your thoughts?
Power does stuff to people, right? It changes them. And I felt, and I said this before when we saw them, on hologram talking before, getting denied, I felt like she was so afraid to lose her position. She's still like that, and she can't break away. She fought so hard to get in this position, but she's being blinded by all this other crap and people around her because politics suck. But I'll be honest, with her saying, you need Ahsoka to speak for you, because otherwise we're most likely going to take your status away. I didn't feel bad for Hera. Cartoon version, yes. I felt like I pictured Hera the way I wanted her to be in my head. I was like, oh, that's heartbreaking. She'll figure it out. But this live action, I don't feel bad for her if she loses it. Like, it is what it is.
Rick asks, do you think Mon Mothma could join the Empire? And then he says, because we don't know her future at this point. Actually, we do. I think it's, what's it called? Bloodlines. It's a novel that talks about Hera eventually, or she eventually stepping down and going away. So we do know what happens to her. I don't think she joins the Empire. Kat, I'm gonna stick with you, ma'am. At this point, I'm screaming to myself, Jonah and the whale. What do you got, ma'am?
So I wasn't thinking that, but for me, it went back to my love of the Star Wars MMO SWG, Star Wars Galaxies, their first MMO, because I love the Star Wars games. And there was a skill tree that was called Master Creature Handler. So you could tame animals and stuff like that. So for me, it was like a little nod of that way of like, oh, it's a Master Creature Handler, which, I got all giddy about. But I was really happy. And can I just say, she is totally Ahsoka the White. Her gauntlets are all white. She's more white. Even her pants, they're not as dark gray when you do a close-up of them. Mm-hmm. When you see, they're very lighter. They're kind of mixed in with the tunic. So, and she's just completely a different person. Now, if you look at when she was talking back in the ship with Yuang, and he's like, we have to thank Jason for this. She was smiling. Jason's here. Yeah. She is totally perked up. She is not the same. She's smiling throughout this whole last few scenes. She is on a completely different level, and I could not be happier for her because she's finally let go of stuff, and she's honestly the Jedi who she should have been as an adult, who she should have turned into. I felt like she's reached that.
Wow. And all I got was Jonah and the whale. What a doorknob I have. Okay. Pete, I keep doing this to you. Sorry about that. What you got, bro? Follow that.
I can follow that one.
Yeah, I bet.
When Huang mentioned that Jason, was the reason why they were able to locate her, and the fact that she did grin, I took it very much like, now that's a kid I could train.
Yeah. There you go. Not that Sabine girl. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, Sabine really does suck at this, but that kid, he's going places.
Yeah.
Yep.
So actually,
but
Jonathan's
why?
What? Go.
Why did she have to get out on the wing? She couldn't do that. I mean, I know it made for better cinematography, as it were, but I'm like, couldn't you do that from the cockpit? I mean, we are just doing the Vulcan. No, sorry, not the Vulcan mind.
Okay, I wasn't going to bring it up because
your
Star
whale
Trek is your jam.
thoughts are my whale thoughts.
Exactly. I'm thinking the voyage home when he's in there finding out Gracie and
she's
is pregnant. Yeah, yeah. I'm like, wow, the Star Trek is deep with this one. Yeah.
Double dumbass on you.
And a double dumbass on you. I sort of noticed you started using colorful metaphors. Exactly. Oh, Kat's like, get on topic, you doofballs. All right, fair enough.
No, it's got a lot of Star Trek. We've been through a lot of this. I feel special.
You can't help.
So
Yeah.
you can't. Yeah.
Pete, you mentioned something. The cinematography. In all seriousness, when they do these whales and a lot of the stuff, it's some of the best cinematography in a Star Wars show I've seen. Am I crazy?
No, not crazy. I'm totally digging it. I thought it was very good translation of what we saw. And I know that's not an actual whale, that's CGI whale, but the animation scenes that we had where Ezra would interface with the whales and up close and the eyes and all that, I thought this was done exceptionally well.
Dad jokes. Stay tuned for more dad jokes from Pete. Okay.
I can't stop. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
I just spout them off.
Oh, I got to take a special trip, and we got to sit in a bar and just have 4 hours worth of whiskeys and talk, brother. Oh my goodness.
It's gonna happen.
It's going to. It's got to now. Kat, you say some very, I think it's a sophisticated way to look at Ahsoka's rebirth and her outfit and everything like that. And the problem, of course, is that Jonathan Redmond is or they just changed her outfit so that we could get more figures and different toys and different outfits.
I don't know why you don't just ignore his comments. Like, just, some comments you can skip over, some you don't
Jonathan.
show. Maybe skip over some of that comment. I don't know. Just a gut reaction there.
just tossing it out there. Yeah.
Everything has meaning in Star Wars. Even if it's little, everything has meaning in Star Wars with it. And I thought they looked even better in this. I finally got Rafi to watch this episode with me since it involved kind of the Clone Wars. And he called them. He goes, so I told him what it was because he hasn't watched Rebels. He likes Clone Wars. But he goes, oh, it's a space kraken.
Space kraken.
But he loved those. But yeah, no, I loved every second with it. And I kind of thought back of, because you had said why couldn't she just do it from the ship? Ezra was up and close and personal with them.
Right.
And then he used them to take Thrawn away. I kind of felt like she needed to be up close and personal also to kind of get her point across as, hey, like Ezra, I need you to do me a favor. So.
Okay. That makes sense. Kat, I'm going to stick with you for a second. I got a kick out of this exchange because Carson Teva's flying up there and he's like, oh, okay, look, I'm going to tell you. You're not going to believe. Are you getting a kick out of this stuff as we're seeing it? Because they're lightening it up for us a little bit.
I love him in this. I love how he's standing his ground. And he's like, I respectfully disagree. He's trying everything he can to stall this woman. So I love that this happened. I'm glad it wasn't Hera or anything like that. I love him for this. And he's trying any which way he can to distract them and be like, no. And then eventually he's just like, all right, I guess I'll tell you, but you're probably not going to buy this. So no, I loved it.
Pete, what are you getting a kick out of this Carson Tev? I mean, do you have sisters, Pete? May I ask that?
Do what?
Do you have sisters? May I ask?
No,
that? Is that okay?
no, just have a
okay,
brother.
so, all right.
Yep.
Well, then I won't ask you because I'm just getting the middle brother stuck between his older and his younger sister the whole time. But I only have 6 brothers as well, so what the heck do I know? What are you getting out of this, Pete? Do you enjoy it?
For as heavy as what we've been through, yeah, I like this little light moment like that. I didn't think it went on too long. I like that he immediately realizes that Okay, I got to play this. I'm back in the chain of command. I'm sorry, you're who? I'm going to need some identification. Where's General Syndulla? She's on a secret mission. Like he's doing plausible deniability, which is very smart on his part. Like, look, the general just came and got us, and she said she needed an X-wing squadron. So who am I? I'm just a lowly X-wing pilot. Who am I to deny? You know, right. Like the general needs to finish her business, and then we can be on our way. But I'm like, why are they sending 3 heavy cruisers from the fleet? Right. If there's any kind of Imperial activity and they're in denial that anything is bad is happening, we're sending 3 heavy cruisers to find the general. Really? When one would do? Or how about just get your butt back to home 1 now? Yeah, like we didn't even need to see that, but it did set up for a funny juxtaposition of the whales are going to whale, like they're coming through. You probably ought to move, and then that commander very reluctantly, like, evasive maneuvers, Yeah, but I also like how these the craft are designed. I want to go there too because it is a nod to that Empire Strikes Back. The first shuttle is away. Hey, it has that feel to it, I think. But yeah.
Pete, I love doing this show because you guys kind of read my mind on where I'm going with the next transition. And I was going to secondarily ask you. So this is the Republic that doesn't believe there's an Imperial threat, that, everything is all hunky dory. Yet 4 X-Wings and General Syndulla take out, and they send half the fleet after him like they're the bad guys. Did that? Yeah. You kind of mentioned it. Did that drive you crazy?
Yeah, it did drive me crazy. I'm like, this is not plausible at all.
I was like, why?
And we've heard in Mandalorian, like, oh, I'm sorry, resources are stretched. It's hard. We can't be everywhere all at once, but we can send 3 cruisers after a general that, for the most part, behaves.
Yeah. And is a hero. Yeah. Kat, before we go over to you, check this out. There's Chris from Thousand Skills Toys. Hey, it's good to see you, man. Chris. Yeah, he's my fellow Gen Xer as well. We kind of see eye to eye on a lot of stuff, Pete, like you and I do. I love having him around.
Yep, so he's a great chap.
He's a great guy.
Yeah. Kat, really quick, can you still hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, it got quiet for a second. Sorry about that. You had me very specific, a very specific character in a very specific slide that for the life of me, I normally know why you want me to get these slides for you, but I'm not sure what's going on here. So this Ishi Tib, what did you want to talk about with him? I'm interested to hear.
It's nothing special. It's just that you don't you see more of him. You don't notice him in Return of the Jedi much. And he was only made for the special re-release, so he wasn't even in the actual original. And then I didn't even know he was Jabba's accountant, which I think is hilarious. And then we see him in a video game. So I just thought, how cool is that? He's like second in command to the captain or whoever the crap she is. Yeah. I think they're awesome aliens and I just love them. So it's just like a kind of like a little side thing of just kind of like an extra little piece that you don't see him hardly ever. I've seen him twice. That's it. So I just love that they kind of shoved him in there. So just for a little extra alien love is all.
Some good world building. Fleshing it out.
Yeah. I got a kick because you could definitely see his eyes were animated and looking around. That was pretty cool. I'm still loving these General Crix Madine uniforms they're wearing too, all 1970s throwback. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yep.
Here's the one problem I have as a former military man with the rank structure on this ship. The captain who's running this entire fleet has 2 dots. Everybody else has 1 dot. That's not very much depth in the rank structure, if you ask me. What the heck do I, so I don't know. Yeah, I go to JT.
What's a step up from an ensign?
Ensign is lieutenant junior grade. I don't know. Yeah, their ranks are always screwed up.
One step up from an ensign.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh my God. Right. Yeah.
Captain's he's sleeping. She's just night duty.
Right, maybe that's what it is. Star Trek night crew, beer me. Okay, anyway, yeah. There's an existential reference, right? Yeah. Oh, JT, it's a cross between a snail and a turtle. Yeah, and
Yeah.
right, Chris? No gonk droid, 0 out of 10. Exactly. Yeah. Where are we at here? Let me see where we're coming up on. Okay, yeah. So actually, we did really good, you guys, because there was so much to talk about. I thought there's no way we're going to be able to keep this under 2 hours, but we're kind of wrapping up. Yeah. So she talks to the whale. You know, he Jonah and the whales her, and then Kat, let's stick with you, ma'am. We kind of ride off into the sunset with that Empire Strikes Back kind of vibe. What do you think? What's going through your head? How do you like it?
She can't look at her beaming. Look how she is so unbothered. She doesn't feel like when she again, she's a great eye actress. She had the weight of the world on her shoulders. She doesn't have that. She feels so light. She feels different. She feels like she could do anything now. And I love how Ewan's like, wait, what? You don't know where we're going? Like he's a droid, but he's just like, we need a plan. You know, I'm from Old Republic. We keep everything in order. Like we know exactly where you're going. So you have a plan. What do you mean we don't? What? I love that. He's like thrilled off and she's like, I don't really care. But I love how aloof she is. And I feel like Anakin really helped her to set up to face Baylan. Because Baylan uses his tactics of, again, the legacy, which you talked about several times. He uses that past to really throw her off, and it does. It rattles her. She's not going to be rattled now. She's going to be a force to be reckoned with. So I absolutely love this shot.
Pete, I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. Getting Kat, great idea, my friend. You're brilliant. Pete, what do you get out of this, though, sir?
I'm hearing the song, The Future's So Bright, I Gotta Wear Shades.
I'm doing real good. Getting good grades. Future's so bright, I gotta wear shades. Yeah. Pete, you know that song's about nuclear war, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, okay, all right. All right, yeah.
I did it.
Okay, it is.
Yeah.
I love
It's one
that
of those,
song,
yeah.
and I did it. Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah, it's irony. Yeah, exactly.
Thanks for destroying my childhood. Cool. All right.
That's what we do, Kat.
It was the 80s. We were just, one button away.
Right?
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's fine.
But yeah,
That's-
what a further pungent reminder that we're, turning the page than to just flood the cockpit with this bright hyper speed light that's coming at them. Yeah, great scene. But I still love that we get a little bit of comedy on Wang. Wang.
Yeah, Wang Chung.
With like, what do you mean we don't know where we're going? Like, I feel like, oh crap.
Right. Let's Pete, you brought it up a lot. I mean, if this isn't a Spock Captain Kirk moment, I've never seen. Spock's like, what the heck? What do you mean we're just flying away out to the stars?
Yeah.
Can I also say, I know like with Hera tells, Ahsoka, hey, it looks like they're about to go, and her little exchange with Jason, and he's like, Mom, it's like the story she told me, and all that kind of stuff. So I like how Ahsoka goes, I'm sorry you can't come. And Hera's like, well, he's a little too young to be jumping galaxies, but he's not too young to be going on some alien planet unprotected with me and my pistol, and I don't know how to do a lookout properly. He's not too young for that, though. But he's too young to travel with whales and his mommy. Got it. I don't understand that disconnect, but
oh, and all I'm hearing in the background while Kat says stuff like that, Pete, is let it go. Let it go.
I was when she says, hey, take us in, I fully expected the ghost, to like, all right, we're going in there.
Right.
But, that was kind of surprising for a hot second. I'm like,
Robbie was like, they're going too, right? Nope. Oh, why?
Like they're staying back to face the music.
I don't know.
Kat, he had school Monday, Kat. Come on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Chris.
I thought it was summer vacation, Chris. My bad.
Oh, man. Kat, here we go. Kat, you leave G-Force and Dino.
Listen, if it's the animated Hera, I leave her alone. I love her. If it's the live action, we're going to have words.
You guys cracking me up. I forgot what I was doing. Oh, no, I remember what I was doing. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. You guys, this has been a lot of fun, I tell you. Kat, so we're coming up towards the end here. And I like that you kind of took my tradition and made it your own. So the last thing I always like to ask you guys is, what was the best thing in this episode? But then you also meshed in, what was the worst thing in this episode? And then what do you think 1 to 10 on this one, ma'am? I think I know what that's going to be.
Maybe.
Maybe.
You don't know me.
I don't know.
You know me. I mean, obviously, her interaction with Anakin. I mean, her retraining. There's so many levels on it, and the deeper meanings of like what she went through, and to really get at it. So I think that cinematically, it was just completely flawless. The battles between them, older or younger Ahsoka, were flawless. Hayden freaking killed every part of that, transitioning from Anakin to Vader to everything. Like he killed it. It was one of the best things I've seen in a really long time. So obviously that killed it with it. I'm going to complain about Hera. Obviously, she just doesn't, she's not the same, and I'm not going to ever let it go. She's just not the same that we fell in love with Rebels. And then I'm still really disappointed Zeb's not around. Like I feel like he's missing some. And then even though Hera kind of ruins it for several shots for me, Hayden obviously brings it up. So, I mean, what's the highest I can rate it? So just think of the highest number you can think of and then times it by like 1 trillion. And that's my rating for this episode. So
you're rating it to infinity and beyond. Got it.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, Mr. Rez and Michael are definitely on your side as far as Hera is concerned, Kat. That's for sure. So, Pete, best thing you got out of this one, worst thing. Where's your number 1 to 10, my friend?
Let's see. I'm gonna say the best thing, definitely the Clone War flashbacks. I just really dug that, and seeing that in a live action format was like juicy and cool. Yeah. The worst thing was probably the opening scenes, because I felt like it drug just a hair too long. Like, come on, let's get to what that whole like where they just stayed on her as she came out the gangway and I'm like, really? I know I say it all the time, but I'm like, we don't have a lot of time in these episodes. We don't have 30 episodes to explore all this. Like, why are we wasting time? Oh, it's Totoro.
Hey, kitty.
Hey, you didn't kick me off the internet. Good job. He just ran across the keyboard.
Of course.
So yeah, that was the worst part. Was just the opening scenes there. Like I said, I thought that could have picked up the pace a little bit, but otherwise, the pacing on the rest of the episode was really, really good. I like that I was right in my head that we were gonna, we had to go space whales to get us to the other galaxy, which is cool. I'm digging it. I give this one a 9 out of 10. Yep.
Nice. So, and I mean this sincerely, I'm not being funny. I know I'm a dork most of the time, but I really want to thank you guys, because the Clone Wars fever dream, I kind of got what was going on, but like you really added some perspective, which helped me appreciate it a lot more. These are the things that are sticking with her that she has to overcome, and that's what the Anakin ghost is trying to show her. It made it a lot better for me, so thank you both on that. Pete, specifically, I agree with you. The first part of this, like, go back out onto the ocean, look again. We're gonna stand around and let's go. Let's go.
Come on.
Yeah, because I know where we're going. We're gonna see her. She's not dead. Like, let's just get to it. We don't need to mess around for so long. So I agree with you on that. So if you're in the chat with us, thank you. As some people have already started doing, if you want to throw your score in for this episode down in the chat, we want to hear those. Yeah, especially if you give it something super, super high or super, super low. Maybe one reason why on that as well. But while those are coming in, we'll do a little bit of housekeeping, and that is that you've been watching the Ahsoka Breakdown Show with Scuba Pete and Kat here on Paul's Collectibles. We're here every Thursday, 1 p.m. Pacific, until the show runs out. And thus far, it has been an absolute blast. Am I crazy, guys? You having fun?
Oh, I'm having a wicked time.
I look forward to every Thursday now.
Nice. So let's see here. You and my wife are the two women on this planet that actually look forward to seeing me. Cool. All right. I love it. Yes, I'm happy. All right, good. Yeah. All right, let's get on down here and see what we got for some scores, you guys. All right, there's Jonathan. I love Jonathan. Super harsh and fairly so. At the end, though, it's still 8 out of 10. Dawson is still the worst part in this show, not my Ahsoka. That's fair.
Fair enough.
Yep.
JT with the 9.5. The Ahsoka Anakin scenes were utterly brilliant. Both of you did, Kat, specifically. You put a much finer point on them for me, and I appreciate that. I appreciate them a lot more. So much better.
Awesome.
Michael Reed, 9.5. Lose half a point for Hera. Yeah, or lose half a point for Hera for sure. Yeah. Let's get on down the road. Scuba Pete, me 3.
Oh, there's another gal that likes you. There you go.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Leslie. She's like, hey, you keep my husband occupied for 2 hours and off my back. Great.
That's her me time.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Go play with Paul. I'll deal with you later.
I'm gonna go get my nails done or massage.
Exactly. Yep. Chris, 10.5 out of 10. Wow. That's, because, Chris is very pragmatic, old school OT guy. I'm glad to hear that he's enjoying it. Good for you, Chris.
Awesome.
Rick, 8.5, but only because Canadian Hayden killed it. Not that Rick's biased in any fashion, huh, Pete?
No.
Blue X.
Is that 8.5 Canadian? Does that what's the exchange rate into US?
I saw 8.5 Canadian. It's probably about 6 on our.
Yeah, I was thinking it's like a 6. I feel you, Rick. I feel you.
Yeah. Oh, Kat, that was another live stream. She did all that.
Oh, okay. All right.
And then Blue X, solid 9.5 out of 10. Yep. Oh,
all right.
Yep.
Well, you're not kidding. She got up and left. She's driving right now, Pete. She just left altogether. All right. Well, I'm actually really shocked, you guys. I thought I was going to have to just really to keep it under 2 hours, and we're doing great because this was such a fun episode, and you guys had a lot of great stuff to say. But we're going to go back into chivalry mode here, Kat. I'm going to wind this down, but I don't end stream until I ask you, is there anything else you wanted to add, anything else you wanted to say before I get us up and out of here, ma'am?
I'm just so excited for the next episode. I'm excited to see what she can do, how BA she's going to be. And honestly, just kind of a side thing is, she's kind of stiff. Was her being kind of in the dark, was that affecting it? And is she going to be like even more amazing? So I'm kind of curious if that was part of it. And she was supposed to be kind of rigid a little bit just because she's so bogged down with stuff. So I'm kind of curious about that.
Good point. That's a very good point. Pete, how about you, sir? Any final thoughts, last words, my friend?
I think Kat's awesome. That's my thank you. No, because if I didn't know that Ryloth was her first command, I'm like, I know I watched that episode, but I don't remember it. I'm old. I'm, what I have for breakfast? I can't remember. So hearing that, it's like, okay, this makes a lot more sense. Yep.
Right. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I want to reiterate that. Yeah, please. Kat.
Season 1, episode 19 should be it. Storm over Ryloth. Go watch it.
Now I'm going to go back.
See, she just refuses to prepare. I don't know what I'm going to do with her, Pete.
I told you we shouldn't have her on.
Right, exactly. Just wasting everybody's time, Kat.
I know.
Oh, my God.
No, this show's great. Oh,
yeah.
Don't worry, you can have somebody else in my place next week. It's fine.
Next week, yeah. Yeah, we have somebody in my place next week. Yeah. As usual, you guys, sincerely, once again, you're both doing awesome. I really appreciate it. I love the different takes of the same scenes, some of the practical stuff, some of the, the more ephemeral look at it. And Kat, for God's sakes, with the information. Wow, just 10 stars, girl. I'm so impressed. It's
Thank
gonna be
you.
Awesome. Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, Dino. I think I might have missed it. I think you said you fell asleep again. I remember seeing that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think he said it was a 9. If I'm not mistaken,
Yeah.
Dino. I'll hold for just a second. Oh yeah, just in time, Steve-O. Bye.
Hey, Steve-O.
Yeah, it's good to see you. G-Force, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. While Dino's putting his rating in again, let's read this really fast. I can't wait for the next Ahsoka episode and this breakdown after. Well, thanks, JT. Fantastic show, Paul, Pete, and Kat. Cheers to the amazing people in chat. I agree.
Yes.
There you go. As much as Scuba loves Leslie, some alone time with a bourbon is always welcome. Yeah, but what is Pete going to drink? See what it did now? Exactly. Yeah, there you go. Dino woke up just long enough to put that in. He's asleep now, right, Rick? Yeah, I know. Yeah. He's like, hey, did you get my reading? Yeah, same. I'm not gonna lie. Hey, I appreciate that, Steve-O. Catching us on the rush. So
Thanks,
thank
pal.
you very much. All right, well. With that, I think I'm going to go ahead and get us on out of here because I'm sure everybody has a lot to do with the rest of their day and their weekend. Thank you, everybody in the chat, for joining us. I tell you what, if it wasn't for you guys, this would only be half as much fun. So thank you very much. And I know these two appreciate it immensely.
Yep. Chat's awesome.
Definitely.
Yeah, I
Love
agree.
you guys.
Yeah, no doubt. 3 more to go, right, guys?
Yeah, can't believe it.
Next episode, Kat's gonna have a big red puffy face. I still haven't stopped crying.
I'm gonna wear my helmet next time so you can't see my puffy eyes.
All right, perfect. Well, with that, thank you for everybody for joining us. If you're catching us on the replay, you're awesome. But I'm gonna get us on out of here, you guys, and we will see you on the next episode. Bye, everyone.
See ya.
Bye.